Good evening, folks. Good to see you guys. Happy to be here on an amazing Thursday night. Oh, it's been a day. It's been a week. It's been a long week. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was, crash or correction. We study the numbers, but we actually live the numbers, right? And this isn't a slight on any of the other investors that I talk to. It's not a slight on them at all. But the fact of the matter is that I'm looking at applications every single day. Literally, in the summertime, it's every day because we always have some unit coming available in the summertime. And the reason why is that's partially planned. It's actually not even partially planned, it's planned. The reason that we always have units available in the summertime is because that's the best time to have people move. And people are like, oh, well, there's a lot more competition. I don't care about competition. My units are better. I want competition because people are like, oh, well, I can have yours for 22 or I can have this other one for 22 and yours is a whole lot nicer. Ta-da. So it's not just about trying to get more money for your unit because it's a nicer unit. It's because it rents a whole lot faster compared to the competition. When's the last renter that you talked to that didn't look at anything else when they came to rent your unit? So that's why, again, I like to rent stuff out in the summer. We also use that as an opportunity to cleanse ourselves of tenants that were just difficult to work with over the summertime or over the spring or over the wintertime. And difficult to work with isn't just like I sent in a maintenance request, I'm following up on it. It's more like people being ridiculous. Is more the issue. So anything, so when it's all said and done, we kind of look at that stuff, right? When we're taking everything into account, I'm kind of looking at it and I'm seeing debt loads higher. I'm seeing certainly the consumer is ready to crack. I see people that are actually so bad with math that they apply for $2,500 units and they make $4,400 a month. Like, bad news. You don't even come close to qualifying. Like, for all intents and purposes, you're down the street and to the left from the ballpark. You're not even close. But those are the things those are the things that I've started to see. And that's why I predicted what I predicted, which is median housing, I believe, is going to be down 10% from its peak by the end of this year. Now, there were some things that interrupted my cause and changed some things. But all in all, I think people will laugh, but it's actually not far off track. If you look at Q4 from 2023, the high at that time was, I believe, 417,000 or something like that. And in Q1, by the end of Q1 in 2024, guess what? The number was down 8.1% in existing median home price sales. It was down 8%. So I wasn't that far off from capturing my trophy then, otherwise known as a dollar. However, that being said, we're up even higher this year. Does that mean that as the jobs continue to tick, because I think we all weren't born yesterday, the economy is absolutely front and center. And I think what's really interesting is that in these debates or a debate that may happen, I'm interested to see what the answers are, because so far all I've heard from one side is flowers and puppies for everybody. How do we get there? I'm not sure you heard me. Flowers and puppies and candy bar for everybody. You're getting my attention, but I still don't know how I get there. Flowers, puppies, candy bar, and no more student loan payments for everybody. It's like, just stop. So again, this isn't political, but this is, hey, who's going to rile and get people going? And is that stuff actually going to happen? And then to what degree? So I look at the housing market and I look at it much the same way. Is there going to be some sort of a special buyer's program next year? I would almost bet on it that there's going to be. The question is, when are they going to actually roll that thing out? So I think if it's, I'll win no matter which side wins, because I'll figure out a way to manage around their stupidity. That's usually how it works. Some of my least favorite presidents made me the wealthiest. So I'll live if you only care about money, but I don't care about money. I kind of love my country and I kind of love the soldiers that fight for our country. And and the people that work hard, you know? So it's going to be a tough time. You know, I think recessions aren't fun, but if I'm looking at crash or correction, yeah, I still have a really tough time with crash because there's still so many people that aren't moving that have those small mortgages. The more people that I see moving are the people that bought in the last 2 years with 7% interest rates. They're the ones that I see moving because they already have a ridiculously high rate. So they're not giving up anything by moving or relocating to a job. And that's going to be the thing that starts happening more. If you guys remember on Zuber's channel at the beginning of the year, I actually said, or actually in Q4 of last year, I said that this year we would be likely sub 4 million transactions on pace for that. Pretty sure that's about where we ended up or where we're going to end up, somewhere around there. So it's going to be close. I think the other piece of it as well is I said that not only would there, and he was saying too, no transactions, but I said really low transactions. But I also said that I think that a lot of the move up buyers and the expensive buyers would disappear. The fact of the matter is that I've got 17 years that I spent in robotic process automation, which is a precursor to AI. So I understand exactly how powerful that stuff is. And while it's powerful now and it's doing a lot of cool and cute things, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait until the next 5 years when those large language models, when they have petabytes of data. And if you've ever heard of a petabyte, I believe, is 1,000 terabytes. It is a ungodly amount of data. And as AI gets through that, it becomes more and more functional. Now, is it going to be able to fix a car? Nope. Is it going to be able to build a house? Nope. But they're working on that piece too with 3D printing, like I've talked to you about. Is it going to be able to put a new roof on? Like they'll eventually get to the point where robots can do a lot of that stuff. But right now, all that stuff's so expensive. Look at a kiosk at McDonald's and tell people to keep on pushing for $20 an hour to press buttons, at that register. Let them know that that kiosk is soon to replace them because it's not that big of a delta what they're paid and their amazing attendance schedule and what that kiosk can do. And like I said, I think you will quickly see that those markets, I think those areas will change because I think what it's going to turn into is I think it's going to turn into, 3 people on a shift in McDonald's working or one of those big box stores, something like that. And I think that you're going to have, I was in one of the biggest, the biggest box store in the world, and they had lines at the self checkout, and they had 3 registers open, but they have 40 registers. 40 registers. They had 3 others open, and they had, I think, four or 6. I don't know which one it was. 4 or 6 self checkouts, and those were lines. So that world is shifting, and so those jobs are going to go away. But I think that there's going to be a lot more white collar jobs that are going to go away, right? A lot of marketing specialists because they're like, oh, I'm special. I can do it differently. Right now, you're better than AI and you'll use AI, but eventually AI won't need you because it will just need the creator putting the data in and then getting whatever they need for output. So I think that will differ. So I think that will shift a lot of things in the world that we have before us. But again, I look at it and I say, I'll worry once AI can solve complex problems. Oh, it will. It will. It will. Like I said, I worked pretty in depth with a lot of that stuff, and it will. But it was pretty interesting just to kind of see it unfold. So when we talk about crash or correction, they always say that the future isn't exactly as it is in the past, but that it does rhyme. I think that the rhyme is this. I think that jobs become a real problem for us. I think that we will likely have high, sustained unemployment over a long period of time. And when I say high, I just mean higher than what they believe, than what the Fed believes, or what the government believes is full employment. I think it's going to be high. And I think that people are going to have a difficult time. I think they're going to have a really difficult time. I've been through 2 recessions. They were both ugly. They were both not fun. There was both like kind of depression constantly about it, right? People are always bummed. And I get it. But I think that as you continue to watch it unfold, I think joblessness becomes a bigger issue. Homelessness becomes a bigger issue. People that won't ever be able to make what they made in the job that they have now because their job will no longer exist. And is that 3 years away? Probably not. Is it 5 to 10 years away? Sure, for some. Is it 10 to 20 years away? Sure, for a lot. So people are going to have to reinvent themselves. So what I think is going to be really important, I think what's going to be really important is that you have some level of skill that can't be replaced by a box. You're going to have some level of skill. And that means any number of things. If you're growing your own food, if you're doing farming, if you're able to fix cars, if you're able to fix your house, your own house, just be able to fix your house. That's what's most amazing to me. I see a lot of people that are completely broken. They still hire somebody to go do the work on their house. Dude, get a YouTube video and figure it out. Figure it out. There's tons of stuff out there. So when I look at it again, crash or correction, I still believe that in most cases, in the next bit, it's going to be a correction. Could it then turn into a crash? Well, sure, that's always on the table. There's, World War III is always on the table, and there's a million other things that are always on the table. I don't see the catalyst. And if you talk to a lot of the experts that know, if you talk to a lot of the bankers that, lived through that crash, don't talk to any banker that's like 35 or less. They didn't live it. They didn't live it. They did not live it. And so that's the challenge you have now is that you get to that point where it's like kind of 35, 36, 37. You were kind of in the beginning of the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis. But man, if you're in your mid 40s, man, that was when you were in your 20s and you lived every part of that. College students not being able to get jobs and us being able to not buy houses and trying to build careers. That was a really scary time and very difficult and quite frankly, scary. But like I said, I think that what you'll see real estate is hyper local. I think that you're going to see that there's going to be a lot of areas that are quite resilient. And then you're going to see a number of areas that aren't quite resilient. And quite frankly, all those people that sit there and say, oh, it's all the overbuilding. Guys, how many vacancies are they sitting with? This isn't commercial real estate. This isn't office space where 43% of people or whatever are still working from home. It's not the same. That's transformed. The question is will that ever happen again is the question. So I would leave you with this. I would tell you that the way that I still evaluate everything is none of these beliefs or opinions about where real estate might be in 2, 5, or 10 years really much matter because no one has a crystal ball. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. Nobody hits the nail right on the head. So the idea for me is still buying great deals, number one. Number two is buying them in a state that is conservative. That's the most important. That's the most important thing. And that's what we want to kind of look at, is we want to look at our businesses and make sure we're only doing great deals, make sure we're only doing the most important thing, and which is doing those good deals and making sure that they're funded without trying to squint and wink and be like, this is okay. This isn't the worst. See what I mean? So I wish you guys all the best in your travels and in your investing, but please stay conservative, continue to do the work. And you know what? Don't be impatient. Don't be impatient trying to get a deal done. So that's what I think is going to happen in the economy over the next time. I see an urgent super chat. Master Coach is one of the alumni. Good to see you, sir. 911 knob and tube emergency. Okay, I can help you. Triplex is 80% knob and tube. New tenant getting shocked in the shower. Electrician coming to rewire and estimate 4 rewiring entire building. Anything I should consider other than getting 2 more bids? I would get 2 more bids for sure. You have to get 2 more bids. I would also like to understand the triplex. Is it Master Coach? Is it one on top of the other on top of the other? Or was this one that it was like side by side and then there's one in the back type of thing? Update me on that and I'll circle back around, and you don't need to super chat it again. Just put something else in there and I'll circle back around and I'll get to it and answer that question as soon as you give me the answer to that. So kind of give me the layout of how the building is set up. Jack Stewart, everyone come to listen to the bearded magician while he slaps you in the ears with facts that even John Cena can't see coming. Yeah, it's good stuff. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate that. Off the top buckle. No one wants to see me coming at them off the top buckle. What's up, Hyder? Luke Devine. Exactly. Can't start without Hyder. Steven, hey, good to see you, Steven. Jason Calasabetta, good to see you. Excited to see you in the next boot camp. Very excited. Steven, hello, Matt. You are already offending me. Good. That's how this is supposed to go. Marina, the newest, or the most excited, newest fiance in our circle. Congratulations, Marina. Congratulations. She got engaged, I think a couple of days ago. I've spent a considerable amount of time with Marina. I think she's fantastic. I think that she is due for a very happy life, and we're all excited for you, Marina. My timing needs to work. Luke Devine. Yeah. Buzz Dude, how you doing? Let's see. Wealth building journey. Good evening, sir. Jettison your low performing tenant stat. Fire and ice, nailed it. You're exactly right. We spent a lot of time getting rid of those tenants, jettisoning them. That's exactly right. If you guys wonder, yeah, I'm having a really rough day. Not a rough day, like just physically a rough day. I feel like I'm coming down with something, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do this for probably about an hour or so, but if you see it on my face, that's what you're seeing on my face. It's not stress. I feel like garbage. But we're doing this because that's what we do here. We just fight. So yeah, jettison your low performing tenants immediately. I totally agree with her. We got rid of somebody that basically we essentially didn't even want to binder them. We said, hey, your rent's $800. It's going to $1,500. And believe it or not, that's not over market. That's actually at market. They were under market that long for under the old landlord. And they were like, well, then I'm out of here. Sounds good. I'll help you pack. Because we'll get $1,500 right away. So fire and ice, exactly right. Well done, Lorna. Hey guys, popcorn, yellow stripe smile. Today wasn't very productive. Tomorrow will be better. Yeah. Yes, tomorrow will be better. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Eastern Tennessee. Yeah, Knoxville. Yep. Jack Stewart, tomorrow will be better unless it's not. Exactly what I always say. Wood Floor Alchemist. I love the title. What's up, Matt? How are you? Good to see you. Let's see. Trade Bidder. Good evening. Couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ryan Husser. Hello. Robert Fairley. I'll worry. Yep. We'll worry once AI can write in decent code less than 5 iterations. But GPT has done a pretty good job at replacing Stack Overflow. Agreed. I think it's going to continue to get more aggressive, though, because as that stuff it learns more, it learns faster. AI is going to present a problem while they're trying to get everybody to adopt their models and work with it this way. And well, you can co-use it that way. Yeah, I got bad news. That's the slippery slope that you get down. And then you get kids that functionally can't literally function in society. And it's because they cheated through everything that they ever did. So there has to be a way to make sure that happens, or that doesn't happen, if you will. Shamefully, I went to McDonald's a few days ago. I didn't use a kiosk. Someone was right there to talk to me. Yep. A kiosk would have made the experience much worse, in my opinion. So, Hyder, what I will tell you is that I can tell you factually, when you get used to using those kiosks, it's 1,000 times better than using the person. Because if that person has been there for a year or 2 years, fine. If that person's been there anything less than 3 months, no. And they will absolutely F up your order. And so with the kiosk, I don't see that. And I print off the receipt and I can literally show it to them like this. Just like that. Hey, Dylan, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Old guy REI, there's Frank. Hey, Frank, how was accountability group last night? We're still, guys, free accountability group. You guys get to go to that. You guys get to talk about accountability with other investors. Free accountability group. Let's see. Hit the like button for Matt and all his hard work, encouraging grit. That's right, Hyder. Well, you know what they say about grit. Give you saddle sores. Dylan McMahon, in the past live, you said you prepared for taxes to go up. What percentage do you run them at for going up yearly? So that's a great question. The challenging thing is it's impossible to know. And so what I typically do is I look at the previous year. That's the best model I found. I look at the previous year. Some go up 3%, some go up 15%. I take them all, I average it all, then I look at what the overall number is, and then I basically can model it that way. That model sometimes is pretty good, and it might be within, short range of each other. Other times it is not. It is not a good model, and it's off by, I think one year, I think I accounted for 6, and I think it was like 8.5. So it was an extra 2.5%, but imagine if I counted for 0. That's my only other option, is to account for 0, which I don't want to do. But that's a great question. Luke Devine, would you buy a property with no inspection? Yes, I bought tons of them for that, but it's because I'm me. And I say that as humbly as I can say that. I've just done 100 projects. I've done 100 rehabs. More. I've done more than 100 rehabs. I've done it, and those are ones where I'm there, I'm on site, I've done the work, I'm doing the inspection, I'm running the materials list. Sometimes I've done the work, the actual physical stuff, and doing the cabinets or doing the floors or doing some walls. I've done that stuff. I walked the property with crazy good terms, but at the same time, it is 4 hours away with a sewage waste plant, $70,000 of work estimated for 8 units. Yeah, I think the challenge is that if it's 4 hours away, who do you know where that they can take care of that thing 4 hours away? So 4 hours away in my mind might as well be 4 states away. Truthfully, Zoob it would take him, if he had to, he could be in Fresno in 3 hours. But how many times is he making that trip now? Now that it's built, and he was never doing the work. Not a slight, just factually, that's how he built his portfolio. And for me, I wanted to be able to be hands-on because there might be times where I need to save myself the dollars, where I can't afford to get X, Y, or Z fixed. And so I have to figure out a better way to do it. What the heck? Phone locked up. I got a message. Sorry, guys. I got to check messages just in case, because we've got a big day tomorrow. We're actually doing a bunch of, no, we're good. We're actually doing a bunch of paving tomorrow. As I was joking around with a couple of friends of mine, and I said, there's nothing better than spending $30,000 on paving. They're like, what? I go, yeah, exactly. It's the dumbest thing anyone has ever said. I was like, who ever said, yeah, it's that 3 seconds every day where I pull into my space at the new apartment and I just realize that I've made it while I sit in that space. No one's ever said that. I got to spend $30,000 on nothing. A little bit of curb appeal, but not 30 grand worth of curb appeal. I'm not getting 30,000 more dollars. Let's put it that way. And so, yeah, I'm a little bit bitter about it. So, yeah, I get it, Luke. I just think the problem is for me, you're asking the wrong guy with me, in all honesty. I think that Millennial Mike is the better guy to ask. Because for me, for him, he's not going to jump in his car and drive 4 hours. He's got to get on a plane and go to Gary, right? And Zoob, even asking Zoob. But for me, I could not, because you're 8 hours, and that's if you're there even only for an hour or two. That's 10 hours. Like, you got to be committed to take the time off of work and take that day. That's tough, man. It's tough. That's a hard way to invest. I get it. And I think that, even if the thing makes numbers, it better make numbers with everybody else. If you've taken my course and you're set up to in-source property management, it's financially possible. If you haven't set up to in-source property management, you're in trouble. Because you not only have to pay the fee of 7, 8, 9, 10%, but then the cost of whatever it is for that person to go out. You watch, after year 1, after year 2, after year 3, I would be shocked if your property manager didn't make a lot more money off that property, than you did. Santi's ear bear projects. I'll mow your beard for $10. Pass. This is a beautiful beard. See? It's a beautiful beard. I wouldn't mow that. Nope. Absolutely not. Jack Stewart, Frank's being awesome like always. So true. Robert Farinelli, it's not doing to be able to debug issues dealing with the random memory corruption because someone as bad with pointers in C++. Very hard to track down. Very true, but those are all the things that improve over iteration. So in iterative design and in iterative modeling, that will get far stronger. Hitting the propeller on the top of my head. Luke Devine, whose name should be on the contract for the LOI and contract when bringing on an equity partner? When you're bringing on an equity partner, I would in that case, that's where you need some sort of a partnership agreement. You have to find out in your state what is the way that ensures, because usually when that happens, right, there will be insurance that they need to have, insurance that you need to have kind of against each other. There's insurance that you'll need to have for the entity if there is an entity, or there's going to be that prevailing partnership agreement. And then what do the rules say there? But most importantly, is it what's legal in your state? Because state by state, those rules differ. So I wouldn't be getting into any of that until I've actually had a sit down conversation with my partner, my equity partner or partner. I wouldn't be doing any of that without a conversation with them and sitting down in front of an attorney and one that's used to setting up equity partnerships when it comes to real estate. You have to have that expertise. It's critical. And you have to have it in the state that you're trying to do this stuff in, because the rules are different in every single state and you don't want to get caught. You just don't want to get caught. Jack Stewart, hope you're having a good evening, Frank. I agree. Santi's always bringing the comedy. I know, right? I don't mind the comedy. When should I start looking for an inspector after I get my LOI accepted? I don't want an inspector. I don't. I need people that are skilled in the craft. So when you're talking about the septic system and blah, 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 I'm calling up septic companies and saying, I'm in contemplation to buy this property. Wanted to know if you actually knew about this property, had any experience with it. And if not, what I'd like to do is pay you to come out and do the inspection. I understand, I'd like to understand your hourly rate for doing something like that. And then they'll say, yeah, we'll come out and do that. And it's $250. Perfect. So now I've got somebody basically on the 5 most expensive things. I want a roofer to come out and say, hey, I'd like you to come take a look. If the roof looks like anything, I want you to come out and take a look at the roof and tell me, give me your opinion on the roof. I want the plumber to come over and tell me and give me an opinion. So here's the thing. People spend $600, $700, $800 on property inspections, right? And when it's multifamily, it's usually a lot more. It's usually $500 a unit once you're getting to that number. So you might spend or three to $500 a unit when you're getting that number. So you could be $2,000 or $3,000. Guess what? I'd rather hire the plumber for a couple $100, the roofer but roofers sometimes will just come out and do it because there's not a whole lot there. It's just the appointment. Then the electrician, that's going to cost you probably a couple $100. The well guy and the well and sewer and septic guy, that's going to usually cost you a couple $100. And then somebody that's a general construction person, if you don't have that background or that experience, I'm getting that side of it too. So I'll spend $600 to $800 on my inspection, but my inspection is actually a good one. It's not some guy that went to class for 7 days that got a degree in house inspecting, right? So that's where you can really put your focus and eliminate a lot of bad decisions that get made and things that get missed. Things that get missed. And here's the best part. You get these guys, if there's an issue with blah, 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 you get them to give you a quote. It's not an extra step. You have 7 days, 10 days, 14 days due diligence. I've got the guy who's going to give a quote right then and there. And then I at least have something that's horseshoes and hand grenades. That way, when I'm having the conversation with a seller and they're just like, well, I'm sorry that is what the cost is. Well, but it's going to be that cost for anybody. That's one of the really important things that you need to be able to watch out for, in my eyes. What happens after summering an LOI that is accepted? How long do I have until both parties move forward? That's up to what you put in the LOI. You can have a letter of intent, but usually you can put dates, times, and things associated with that LOI in there. But that's all negotiable. So that is the sausage. That is the meat in the sausage. That's exactly what that is. You're having that conversation. That's exactly what that is. So there's no hard and fast. It's got to be 3 days. It's got to be 7 days. It's got to be 10 days. It's got to be 45 days. Nothing like that. It really is, what can you work out with that seller that works for both of you? Dylan McMahon, I'm having trouble understanding 2 to 4 unit range. How to account for paying off an investor with multifamily strategies plan. How do you determine when you would be able to pay off an investor? Well, so the challenging thing with that is that there's a variable. The variable is what sort of maintenance costs, repairs, what sort of costs have to go into the building that are unpredictable at this point. You don't know if you're going to need a heating system, a roof, a new set of stairs, a new deck that might fall off. You never know. And so the idea is you try and structure it in a way where there's, some wiggle room to that. But very often, a lot of that money, a lot of that quote unquote profit that you have usually goes to them. Usually it goes to them in those types of scenarios. Again, this is where you can structure it whatever you want. The reason that multifamily strategy works so well with large stuff is because you need that size of a deal in a lot of cases to do that. 2s, 3s, and 4s are kind of more difficult to do that with. Because the end game, while the returns are still strong, the end number isn't that large. If you've got a duplex that's making 25%, but you've got a 40 unit that's making 7%, right? So your duplex acts like it's 6 units, but theirs is still 40 units. So there's that much more cash. So that type of equity position is better, or structure that way. So I think the biggest challenge is the reason I like 2, 3s, and 4s is because I'm not trying to do it with anybody else's money. I want seller financing directly with the seller, or I want the seller to do a 50-40-10, or I want the seller to do a 50-35-15. And what that is a bank will take out the position of 50%. Then you have the seller hold the note for 35% or 40%, depending on what company you go with. And then you're on the hook for 10%. But if you can't get there on the 10%, then you're having that conversation with an equity partner and saying, hey, I will borrow that, $30,000 from you to get the down payment for this place. What can we agree the term should be? And then you just have to look at the numbers and say, hey, basically they're giving me the ability to buy this place and I want to pay them down as quickly as possible, but I want paperwork that allows me flexibility. I take out 30-year fixed rate debt for a reason. I want 30-year debt because I can pay it down faster. I can pay it down only on the pace that I should be paying it down. Do you think I'm paying down any 4% debt faster? No, because I have 6 or 8 mortgages that are in the 6s or 5s and 6s and 7s. 6 or 8 of those. So those, if I have some big chunk come in, I'll be like, yep, yeah, we're going to pay that down a bunch. Right. And that's where then when I go to sell the thing, I have a whole lot more income coming in. So the update is you guys know that I sold one place. I had another one on a contract. We're supposed to close on at the end of the month. The next one hits the market. It actually hit the market today. And so I'm super excited about that market, but that thing hits today. And then we have an open house on Saturday. And then the next one hits next week. I think the end of next week is when it actually hits. And so it hits the market. So that we'll have one that will close in a couple of weeks. We'll have 2 on the market. Hopefully one will be under contract. That way we then close, have one hitting the market, and then hopefully the next one's under market quickly thereafter. And then, like I said, hope is my best strategy at this point, but the idea is to get rid of those 4 single family homes. And I will show you literally next week, I will be showing you guys how I get a free house. No joke. Serious. I will show you how to get a free house. Yep. Free. 100% free. Cost you nothing. One day you don't own it, and the next day you do. I will share that next week. You guys will see it. Illinois REI. Everyone needs a place to live, either in a house or under a bridge. It's true. That's true. I'll try to word it better if needed. No. That's good. No, I think you're exactly right. I think that's the challenge is that on the bigger buildings, there's just that much more cash in those buildings. So you can so even though it's 7%, it's 7% of $100,000, which is $7,000 versus 20% of $10,000, right? Which is 4, right? So that's where the issue comes. Is it comes on the side of the income coming into your deal. So you worded it perfectly well. Luke Devine, Matt, I've heard that you got a sewage hookup for under $1,000. How far was it to connect? Also, Mike paid $10,000. Where can I find labor that cheap? Did you get lucky? No, so wasn't lucky at all. So yeah, so in one of the videos, and I made the mistake, I thought it was 70,000 bucks all in. Mike actually was nice enough to correct me, and he said, "Hey, it was," and I don't mind being corrected at all. I always want to be corrected. If I'm wrong on something, I always want to be corrected. And Mike obviously, or Zub obviously, is gracious as he always is. He goes, "I don't care that you get it wrong." I goes, "But I need you to correct it though." So I think all in on his sewer pipe, he was between 10 and 15,000 bucks all in. And on mine, I did a couple. One of them, I just did one. I literally just did one. So for us, there was some construction going on downtown. I literally walked up to one of the guys and go, "Hey, what are you doing?" He goes, "We're putting in sewer lines down here." Interesting. I was like, "Listen, I've got a line that's in bad shape, like 6 houses up. Uh, would you be willing to, I'll give you cash. Would you be willing to dig it up, take out the old pipe, and lay down a couple pieces of green pipe and some stone for me and that thing, and then just Bermico it to the house, and obviously stub it to the line." And he goes, "How much?" I go, "You tell me." I said, "Keep in mind it's cash." He goes, 1,500. Sounds good. That's a $10,000 job all day. But he's an operator. He can spend his lunch doing it because it's not that hard of work. The problem is getting the equipment outside, getting the pipe, getting the stone, getting a plumber to come in and have to do some of that stuff. But you really don't need a plumber to do it. You can, but you really don't need one because you can actually make the triple connection there. It's a big, huge, coupling that you literally put on there, and you tighten it down with all the screws and everything. And then you do it on the same side, on the other side too. And it's good for a good long time. But yeah, that was 1,500 bucks. Even when I went through a regular route, I have relationships with guys that have big equipment. And if it's not an emergency, I can absolutely get them to do something for me on a solid. If I've given something, like I've got somebody that's going to do some work for me coming up, they're going to charge me about 12,000 bucks. It's probably a $25,000 job, but they're going to charge me 12 because they know the day that they're done, they're going to get paid. So it's never about getting lucky. It's much more about having relationship with people that have those things. And again, this isn't a slight on Zub at all, but he's not in Fresno. He doesn't know the road crews there. He doesn't, that's why I like investing locally, is because these guys know me. They see me around town. I see them around town. They know I send them business. They know that I pay as soon as they're done. These are all beautiful things. And that's how you get deals. And so for me, yeah, that'd have been a 10, probably for a regular person. That's probably a $7,000 to $10,000 job. And I got one for 1,500. And then I get the other one for, what was it? That other one was a $27,000 job, 27, 28. And I think we did it all in for permits and material and rip up and everything. Like the excavation was right around 3,000 bucks. And then we had some road work and had to repave and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we had to repave part of the road. So that ended up being like I said, I think we were right around 7, but it was supposed to be 28. So it's 25%. So you guys can do that. Your network, this is why Zub has it on his list. Your network is your net worth. But if it's tough to do that when you're not going to the location, when you're not in the field, when you're, that's one of the things I really love about my approach is I get to be close to stuff. I get to do a drive-by and I get to call the lawn company and go, "Dude, that lawn looks like garbage. You got to get out there and fix it." And they come out and fix it. So yeah, that's what I like to do. Fire and Ice. Starliner astronauts waiting for HAL 9000 to bring them back. That's true. Yeah. Hey, Chris Culp, how are you? I know you get an email message into me, my friend. I'm going to get to you. Yeah, I'll get to you. It probably next couple of days. It's been a little bit of a nightmare this week. Adam Calhoun. Hey, Lumberjack. What do you think of LVP flooring? I love it. Is it better to get planks with padding or without padding? I still add padding underneath them, even if they have padding. I think the big thing that you really want to look at is the thickness of the LVP. I am done with the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s. I want the commercial grade, the 7 mil, 8 mil, 9 mil stuff. I want the thick stuff. Give me the thick stuff. Because it's easier to install, or it's tougher / easier to install. It's tougher because it's much more of a solid floor. It's easier when you have a repair. It's easier when you have to replace something, and it's easier when you're not going to get like popping joints. So I'm still doing LVP. I'm doing 7, 8, and 9. The cool thing about LVP 7, 8, and 9 stuff is that now you're in the world where you can actually be competitive with wood. If you actually, again, not buying from the big box stores, but literally buying from the little places that get it directly from the lumber mills and that kiln dry it and things like that, or not the lumber, but the sawmills and stuff like that, and the prep places. Get it from them. And then you actually, again, that's, so I do it. I do it with this place that's like a hole in the wall. They have 100,000 square foot warehouse, and they source it basically directly from the manufacturers of that wood. And so I'm coming in at, 280, 290 a foot, which is less expensive than LVP. And somebody said, oh, you can get 27 sands. I'm watching this other jerk on YouTube. And he's like, oh, you can get 27 sands out of that. Not anywhere can you get 27 sands out of a floor. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. Usually 7 or 8 sands. Usually. Adam Cal. Oh yeah. Yeah. So padding, yes, padding underneath. And then it just depends on what the substrate is. Is the floor concrete? And is there moisture? Is it not? Is it going on top of? It just depends on what it's going on top of. And better yet, you'll see that there's like varying grades of different type of padding that you can use. For me in the basement, I use the antimicrobial quiet stuff that really knocks down the noise, but it's antimicrobial. I don't have to worry about, there ever being a mold problem with it. That stuff's about $1 a square foot, 90 cents a square foot. But then there's other stuff where it's like, I don't need to worry about microbial at all. I really need to be focused on noise deadening. And that stuff might be $1 or something like that. Holy cow. I just watched like 15 people jump out. Do you guys not love flooring like I do? It's okay. That's crazy, MC. Yeah, it is. Big Hill. Hi, Big Hill. Robert Fairley. But if you are right about AI and my job is gone soon, then you are wrong about me growing too fast. That means I need to go faster. But I don't think AI will be able to do my job at the very least in 10 years. That's what I agree with. Yeah, I think it's a further thing out. So there's always iterative design, but it gets smarter faster. And so that's where I think that some people might be wrong. They say, oh, well, in 50 years. No. F 50 years. It's not going to be anywhere near that. It's going to be a lot sooner. Yeah. Good evening, sir. Long-time listener. Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate that. Always feel free to ask a question. I'm always happy to try and answer it. Yeah. Congrats, Marina. I know. I'm so happy for her. She's awesome. Also, are there any spots left for the boot camp? I think there's 2. Yep. I'm almost positive there's 2. Yeah, I think we had 6. So we had 9 left. I think there's 2. I think there's 2 spots left. Yep. Master Coach, 2-story. Got it. 3-bedroom unit is downstairs. Okay. Then upstairs is 2 units, 1 bedroom and a 2-bedroom. Owner died and lived upstairs, so downstairs hasn't been lived in for a while. Okay. So the downstairs improvement is actually quite easy. The thing is you don't splice into knob and tube. It's very, very dangerous. It's actually, in many cases, it's illegal. So what the idea is that you can get access to the first floor and change out that wiring very easily. Master Coach, I just did this in a building. It is a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. It was 2 floors. The first floor was very, very easy. The second floor was easy enough, but what I like is home run wires. That way, if one wire malfunctions, I know I just need to replace that one wire. I don't have to worry about where it tapped into. So what we did was we actually got a chase out from the basement, up through, and then up into the attic, and then down the wall into the units. It made managing that project a whole lot easier. Now, the wiring spend was a lot more, but I don't give two you-know-whats about the wiring spend. The wiring right now, I want to say a 12-2 1,000. So we use 12-2 wiring. You can use 14-2. And if you don't know what that is, then you should be in my course. But the 14 or the 12-2 is probably like 400 a spool for 1,000 feet. This project might take up 2,000 feet the way I do it. It's $800. It's inconsequential, but it gives you a separate line to each area. It creates separate circuits, or even create that one circuit for the room, but then you're having to kind of open up walls and plaster and blah, 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 blah. That's why for me, it's like, hey, home run line. So then you'll just need to upgrade the panels. But again, or depending, you might need to upgrade the panels. But that's what I would do. I'd be looking at their quotes and ask them about home runs to each of the unit or each of the rooms, and then ask them home runs to each outlet. The other thing that you can do too is, actually that won't matter because that's knob and tube. So you're just completely going to have to get rid of the knob and tube. Yep, completely get rid of it. I just walked a house this last week, knob and tube all throughout. And they're like, oh, well, we did the upstairs. I was like, oh, why don't you do the freaking first floor? The first floor is the easiest part. But anyway. Adam Calhoun. Hi, Matt. Thanks for the live streams on Thursday. Adam, it's truly my pleasure. It's truly my pleasure. All-nighter hider. Yes, basically rebuilding an entire building there. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's all brand new. RP, how do you find deals? Oh, sorry, Larry Bird. What up, LJL and chat? What's up, Larry Bird? How do I find deals? Find deals a number of different ways. Wholesale, retail, investor relationships, broker relationships, seeing different properties and sending them a note on it. I've gone to law offices and talked to them about a program that I offer, which is basically just the 50-40-10 program. So I've done them all different ways. Yep. Yeah, all-nighter. That sucks. Yeah. It's expensive. It is. It's expensive. HOA Press, the extent of labor automation resulting in job destruction over the next decade will be quite large. Completely agree with you, HOA Press. Completely agree. I'm a 26-year guy, Silicon Valley guy. 26 years. It's going to be of epic proportions, because what it does is it doesn't mean that just the next person can do the next thing. What it really means is that one person now has an army of people to do those things. That's the key. That's the kicker. Master Coach, all-nighter. At least we're 100% occupancy now, so the tenants are paying us monthly now. I love that. Woo woo! That's a win. Love that. PE turned RE. Teacher by day. Any suggestions for evening jobs? Saving up for house hack number 3. I would do something that gives you some flexibility, but what do you know? What are your skill sets in? What do you know? I'm going to you guys are going to see a weird broadcast from me in the next couple of weeks. Man, I just said something offensive. I just watched a bunch of people jump out. I'm going to do a weird broadcast in the next couple of weeks. It's basically going to be a broadcast about like alternative investment, and it's not Bitcoin or anything else like that. I'll leave you with a cliffhanger. It's not Bitcoin. It's not it's not digital. It's just something that I enjoy. I know an absolute load about it. A ton I know about it. And that translates into me being able to create revenue. So I wouldn't be so fast, PE turned RE, to jump into another job. I'd try and see, if you play an instrument, try and give lessons. If you're really good at something, try and give lessons in that. That's one of the big areas I think people miss out, is something like that, because you can still get that predictability. And again, if you're picking up a side job, is it going to be like a Uber or something like that? My concern there is there's real wear and tear on your car that happens. And with what cars cost price wise, higher likelihood of accidents, more expensive when you have an accident, all that other stuff. I don't see it. I don't see the mathematical equation that works for that stuff. I just don't. Robert Fairlane, I think you missed my question, or I was not listening because I'm trying to rehab, but is TNC your flooring guy? I saw a post of his in Southern New Hampshire Contractors Group. TNC, he's one of the guys that we're going to use for a very large project. I believe. Is it like Huang, maybe? Just let me know, but I think so. I've got other guys that I've used that are pretty good. They're good. They're good. They're not great. They're good. They're good, but they're cheap. They're good, but they're cheap. These other, you've seen me get into the fights. Look at the fights that I have in those Twitter board or in those Facebook boards. Look at the fights that I have in there. You'll see it. These idiot guilos trying to charge $5 a foot. Go away, dude. Go away. You're a joke. And it takes them a week to finish the job. Dude, you're slow. You're slow too. I would be worried about the prospect of a national asset tax, especially if a certain party wins the election. HOA pres, yeah, I mean, I kind of see that, but they've already talked about that. Like, that's not a big secret. Like, they've already talked about taxing unrealized gains. Like, what a stupid concept. What a stupid concept. What I'd really love is for the think tanks to stop coming up for this stuff for these people. What I'd really love is to actually have to see these people. Hold on one quick second. I'd actually like to have to see these people. I don't know where that is. I'd like to have to see these people actually articulate what exactly their plan is. Oh, dear God. Some people post things to social media that just should not be posted to social media. Inside thoughts. Especially when it comes across as something urgent was posted. Drives me nuts. Nice MCU. Yep, just got to be timely with the fix. Maybe that let the tenant hear the contractor explain what's up so they're in the loop. Yeah, I mean, that can kind of open up a can of worms, because what you don't want is you don't want to create that connection between the tenant and the operator, or the tenant and the contractor. Because here's what ends up happening. They then think that they work for them, and then they start bossing them around. It's like, dude, it's not my contract. And I don't want to create that awkward moment for them. So I always tell them, yeah, any questions you have, absolutely come to me, and I'll work with the contractor to get through it. So besides eating knee pads, is there a way to keep your back and hips from hurting while doing flooring all day? Not that I've ever seen, my dude. Not that I've ever seen. I wish I had better news for you. Yeah, I mean, you get muscle memory, but the problem that you have is, look at any of those flooring guys. I'm a bigger guy, so it's already an issue for me. But those smaller guys, like, again, I've got this one Vietnamese guy who's like 5'3". Like, he's like the guy in all the Oceans movies. Like, the guy, flips out of, like, he's just unbelievably athletically gifted. But yeah, I've not seen any way to do it where, I mean, any person that's of size, it's tough, man. It's tough. I have no idea why my phone thinks I eat knee pads. Yeah. HOA Prez, if you're starting up, then ideally you buy properties that are within a 30-minute drive. Yeah, that may or may not be possible for some. Yeah, I think you always want to be, I always want to be kind of around the circle, right? I don't want to be deep down in it. But it really depends on what the area is. Like, I've got, I'm 45 minutes to an hour from Boston. And I've got a 30,000 person town, a 17,000 person town, and a 3,000 person town. It's worked out pretty well for me. And that's where a lot of my time is spent. Brian Keith, 1007. Hello, everyone. Hi, Brian Keith. All-nighter. LOL Jack. I always hurt for the first few days till the body gets used to the abuse. True. The Credit Cousin. Hello. Welcome. Good to have you here again. Summertime Santa. Never shave the beard. That thing is majestic. Thank you. It's actually the biggest it's ever been. Was like way down here. That was way down there. But that was a problem. That was a problem. It was just gross. Like, food all the time, children pulling it. Yes, they're my children, but besides the point. Jack, try to keep all needed tools within reach to minimize ups and downs, walking to crouching. That's true. And you can have like a tray that you slide around with you. But man, I've done it. And dude, your shoulders, like, because you're not going to do it every day. And so the guys that are good at that stuff are the ones who are doing that stuff every single day. But don't kid yourself. There's a reason why a lot of those guys in their 40s, they're getting their hands done. They're getting their hammering shoulder done. They're getting a knee done. They're getting a hip done. All of those things are things. All of those things are things. That is hard work. So my beard is majestic. It should by itself guarantee a spot on Rushmore. I'm in support of the guys that, maybe not one of them. Generally speaking, I'm in support of the people on Rushmore. Master Coach, all-nighter hider. Tenant is looped in on the immediate rewire on specific offending short. Yep. Should be done tomorrow. The question is how now to rest of the building. Yeah, I think you get a quote on that. And I think that, like I said, I think if you look at the first floor, that can be remedied quickly. I think you chase it to the second floor. and then you're going over things and you're stapling over things on the second floor, I think that's your better bet. Or the other option that you can also have, which isn't a horrible one, you can bring a service line into the unit. That's what we do when we do a project. We actually bring the service line into the unit so the actual panel is in the tenant's unit now. That's a big money saver. It's in the future. It's a big time saver as well, because you're not like, we don't have electric. Did you call the electric company? No. Well, let's start with them. Did you pay your bill? I've literally caught people that didn't pay their bill and their electric got shut off. They're calling me and complaining they don't have electric. Wasn't me. Dylan McMahon, free accountability group. Yes, sir. It's a free group. It's Frank. Frank runs one. Actually, you know what, Dylan? There's another one too. There's Tuesdays that I run, or I don't run, that Lumberjack Landlord Alumni, Robert Falinelli's in there, Landlord Odyssey, Redion's in there, Ned Talks is in there, Frank sometimes is in there. There's a bunch of people that go to that one too, and that's Tuesdays. The big thing is everyone's like, oh, I don't want to go if there's only going to be 3 or 4 people. Well, if everybody has that idea, you're never going to get past 3 or 4 people. That's the issue. So if you start going and show that you're consistent, that thing will grow. And then you start messaging people that took the course, and you guys are in the course. You can absolutely message them for accountability groups. Messaging is turned on in the mighty network of the Lumberjack Landlord. So you guys, I want you creating relationships. Why do you think I called it boot camp? I called it boot camp because a bunch of my friends that went into the service and then got out of the service, they always remember their boot camp guys. They always remember those relationships, and that's what I wanted to foster for you. So email in the group, start chats in the group, have those conversations in the group. I want you guys connecting to each other, having something outside of me. Sometimes I'm able to attend the Tuesday one. I haven't attended for quite some time, just because of all the things we were transitioning through, but that will happen this winter. I guarantee it. Promise. Hey, Lars. I wore my LGL shirt last night. It generated a lot of talk. I think it was the beard. It usually is. It's not this. Brian, anyone here in Florida? I need an attorney that can handle collections on a tenant. Yeah, guys, chime in here. There's a bunch of Florida guys here. Master Coach. He's a Florida guy. There's a bunch of them. Jack Stewart, Matt's beard is made with unicorns and leprechauns and is something to admire from afar. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the beard envy. One of the funny things is, as well, I appreciate the beard envy. It's almost always from dudes. It's almost never from girls. So that's the funny thing is when people are like, oh, you have that for girls? No, I have it for me. I like my beard. I like not having to shave every day. I like clean shaven here and then this. Not that it matters. Wood Floor Alchemist, have you ever covered the benefits of refinishing hardwood rather than covering them? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm a big, if we have hardwood in an existing house, or if we have wood, because a lot of times it's not even hardwood, it'll be like, we'll get the pumpkin pine. So Wood Floor Alchemist, absolutely. I love refinished classic floors. That is what we try and do all the time. We try and do it all the time. The only time that we don't do it, even if they're scarred up, we'll do a double sand. We're not afraid of that. We'll reset the nails. We'll do all of that work. The only thing that we won't do is when we see that there's like a glue that has like asbestos in it or something like that, then we just decide we're not going to do that because we don't want to sand it. We don't want to strip it. We don't want to do all these other crazy things. We're just like, you know what? In the interest of time, money, and safety, we're just going to go over it. So yeah, I love it. Yeah, we absolutely talk about that all the time because I am passionate about old wood. Jack Stewart, from direct eye contact may cause death. Yeah. Trade better. Is there a way to sign up for boot camp only if we are already course students? Yeah, you can just do the upgrade. There's one in there. Yep, you can pay for the upgrade and you get right into the boot camp. Yep. I guess my phone is chopping messages in half now. I know, rude, right? That's all right though. Hey, Michelle Meyer, the $300 girl. That sounded weird. But it's because you got $300 on a rent increase. That's what I meant. Brian, excited to see you and Ashley at the ORAD event. Just bought a VIP ticket. Brian, that's so cool. Yeah, you guys saw the way that I was last year. I was around. I was everywhere. So I didn't. The only thing I have to make sure that I do is eat this time. That was a problem last time. By the time the day came to the end, I was really hurt and I needed to eat a lot more food. But I got to talking and I love answering your guys' questions and spending time with you guys. So I really use that event to get FaceTime with you. And you guys thought you were getting FaceTime with me. I like to get the FaceTime with you guys and talk about how you're doing. Comparable expense, better wear. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I love the old stuff. Love it. In fact, you could count on maybe 2 hands in all of the rehabs I've done on ones I didn't refinish floors. I love refinishing them. I love them so much because they look so good and it's such quality. It's, tight stranded lumber. Like the new stuff isn't that way, but the old stuff, that tight stranded lumber, oh, it's so good. So good. And even like the story behind pumpkin pie, pie too. But pumpkin pie, I love pumpkin pie, but pumpkin pine, for those of you who don't know, it's, there were these big, huge, tall pine trees, right? You were getting oak from pine or pine from oak. They're these big, huge, tall pine trees. The story behind these trees is that very often when people were having to clear lots to build their homes, they would basically knock these down. Our forefathers, amazing men and women, right? What do? They actually take the thing and they actually start cutting it into pieces because they're going to use that for their flooring. They're going to use that to cover the walls in some cases, but they're using that pumpkin pine. And the reason that they call it pumpkin pine is it is a pine tree that usually is hundreds of years old, where we don't have a lot of long growth like that here anymore, but it's usually hundreds of years old. And so the grains are so unbelievably tight that even though it's pine, it's not really soft like today's pine. You can walk on today's pine floors and you can dent them. They're super soft. And it's because it's not tight grained. But these floors, they're not. And they're very, very strong. And they absolutely will hold up to the wear and tear. And so we have one that we did that was pumpkin pine that we restored those floors. I think we've sanded it. I've owned the building for maybe 11 years now, and I've sanded it once or twice. I think I've sanded it once in the beginning, sanded it once since then, so twice. I still have 5 sands left in that thing. And quite frankly, it's probably another 30, 40 years at the rate that we're going. So I love those old classics. Matt, I know you're busy. I sent you an email Sunday about your course. Lars, I'll reach back out to you. And I apologize, guys. This week was just an absolute bear. It's an absolute bear. Health issue. I'm fine. I'll live. But health issue this week, and it's just eating up a ton of my time. A pain in the ass. Let's see. Brian, I bought a VIP ticket a few weeks ago. I'm really excited for the event. Guys, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Ash and I we're literally working through our presentation now. Guys, one of the things that I would encourage you to, if your spouse isn't coming, you'll get the video. This video is going to be the most important video. No disrespect to all the other speakers. This is going to be the most important video for your spouse to see. My wife is amazing. What we did together was amazing, and we did it with teamwork. And I know a lot of people don't have their spouse that's 100% on board. Some do, but a lot of people don't. And we want to help you guys with that. We want to help them to see it from her perspective because she was scared out of her daylights. Her family is full. They are full of clock punchers. Full of clock punchers. And I am like a obnoxious entrepreneur. So yeah, it'll be awesome for you guys. I'm so excited to be doing that again. And I'll definitely see you guys there. How do I encourage a seller to seller finance in a way that makes sense for both of us? Well, because without it, so that's a great question. So without it, it's not a deal. The first thing. The second thing is, if they make it too difficult to do that, then the answer is right. But you're setting me up where if I were to move forward with this deal, I would be at risk of not being able to pay with the slightest of small things that would appear. So that's what I do. I basically say, I know that you might want that, but the problem is if I pay that, I'm putting you and me at risk. If there's some profit there, I need profit there to be able to pay for maintenance, to be able to pay for a roof that might go, a hot water tank. You know what your maintenance costs are. You showed them to me. That's the big thing. So that's one of the things that I would do is I would have them get into the numbers and say, look, this is all you're getting for rents. And this is how much you want. the numbers have to make sense. Otherwise, no one's going to buy your asset ever. Let me know if that makes sense, Woodfloor or WFA. Dylan, example, if I'm looking at a fourplex, 10% cash on return, I plan on splitting the 50-50, then paying off the investor with equity growth. Income-based asset, I can determine when I can buy them off by cap rate. Yeah, so that's that model. Yeah, that's that model. For me, I don't. There's too many assumptions there. There's assumption that equity in the asset is going to go up significantly over a 3 or 5 year period. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I think that rents are going to be flat for some time. I think that values are going to be flat for some time. I think commercial values might even come down. Larger stuff will even come down. So, I'm the better people to ask about that strategy by far is Christian. Christian's absolutely the man when it comes to that strategy. Me personally, it's not a strategy that I want to employ. And the reason is, even in the very beginning, you got to remember investing became a byproduct of me just living my life. That's all I was doing. I needed a place to live. So I would buy a duplex, I'd fix it up, and I'd put somebody in the other side and I'd rent out my own and I live my own. And then I just did that 9 times. So everything that I did was just a matter of being able to live my life. I wanted cheap rent. This is the way that I got it. I wanted to invest in real estate. This is the way that I got it. So I love the house hack, as you guys know. But even if you're an investor in other assets, again, I think the key comes down to, to WFA's point, Woodfloor's point. It's got to make sense for both of you. There's too many guys out there that are like, yeah, I'll sell or finance it. And then they're like risking the deal, right? They put the deal, together and you're like, dude, what am I supposed to do with that? Write you a check for $200 a month out of my pocket just to buy the deal? It doesn't make sense. So that's where you have to have the conversation with them. And don't be aggressive, but it's just, so this is where I'm at. I'd love to do the deal, but the problem is where the numbers are, they don't work. They just don't work. And I want them to work and I want to do the deal with you. And I know that we can make this work, but I'd like to, we have to work on that. Maybe you want a higher price and that's fine. But if you get a higher price, then I need to pay a lower rate. Maybe you care much more about that rate. Well, then you need to give me a much lower price. See what I'm saying? So they can't have both. You can't have a high rate and a high price. You can have one or the other. And that's why I always tell them you can pick one. Do you want to get $900,000 for this building that's worth $800,000? Or do you want to get 8% debt instead of 5% debt? It's up to you. That's the key to building a seller finance deal. Brian, Matt, are you selling and holding cash because you think multifamily will correct? Or is it more a bandwidth issue? It's the first one, Brian. Yep. So guys, I've said to you guys flat out, I believe the market's going to correct in the next year. I would be a liar if I weren't doing things that showed that that's what I believed. I believe that there's probably going to be, depending on which side wins is I think what the issue is, right? Which side wins is there going to be a first-time buyer program that's even better than what's out there now? And how much better can you make it? 0% down? Oh, dear God, don't let it be 0% down. Don't. But then you're still going to need good credit. Here's the funny thing. A bunch of people now have bad credit because they got $700 and $900 car loans or $1,100 car loans. So I still think that there's going to be that drag on this thing. I still think unemployment's going to become more of an issue. I think we're going to be up on unemployment consistently. Up, it's basically going to look like this. I think it's going to do that thing for the next, I don't know, year, 2, maybe, could be more. And so that's why for me, the other thing too is what is the asset I'm getting rid of? It's an asset I already hate, single family homes. They don't make a lot of money and they're all the same maintenance. I got a roof I got to take care of, but there's 3 units in most of them and there's only 1 unit in that. I have to, I just did a roof that was $10,000. I did a roof on a triplex. It was also $10,000. See what I mean? That sucks because that roof on the single family house, imagine if I were renting that out, $10,000. Let's say I'm making $250 a month. That's 3 years I just spent on that roof. 3 years of profit. That's why I don't love single family. I want those small multis. I want the 2, 3s, and 4s. It spreads my risk with tenants. It spreads my risk with the asset. And what's really funny is people are like, oh, well, you get better debt on a single family house. No, you don't. No, you don't. You get the same exact debt product on a duplex as you do a single family. Same exact. And Fannie Freddie expanded it to a 3 and a 4. I'm just saying. That's why I'm staunch in my belief about things, is because I've done all the work, I've done all the research, and I'm still buying stuff this way. I'm still buying. Guys, I sold a property last week and I bought one 60 days ago. That's fast. That's very fast, right? And I'm still doing multiple deals. Every single year because I'm in the market every single day, and I'm not sitting here going, "Hey, this is what's happening. I have to figure it out." There's nothing to figure out. I'm experiencing everything that I'm talking to you guys, experiencing it myself. That's where I believe it's important. Thank you, Matt. All I can say, Luke, man, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. Happy to help you anytime I can. WFA, the common incentive for the seller to finance a property yet would be incremental payments, not bumping them into a high cap gains bracket. True story. Dylan McMahon. And pro forma income, how do I determine it with? So pro forma is pro forma. So pro forma, just think fake number. You get pro forma from your rent box. When you build out your rent box, you can see exactly what the market is. And then you can say, well, I'm going to guess that, but this is where the big guys go wrong. I think rents are going to be up 10% next year. I think they're going to be up 5%. I think they're going to be up 15%. No one knows. They don't know. So I account for 0 increase to my rents every year. I account for 0. If we hit a recession, my numbers are exactly the same. If we are flying high and I get 10, 15% more, awesome. 5% more, hell, I did one this year that was it was my largest rent raise ever. It went from $12.95 to $33.16. $12.95 to $33.16. Just saying. Dylan, buyer's agent just asked me for a 6% fee on a $1 million purchase. No. But was like the opposite of helpful. I have no other way to contact the other agent. Sure you do. Yeah, of course you do. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't listen. You could burn the agent, but you can tell them, here's the deal. Did you sign anything with him? Did you sign like an exclusivity with him? Yeah. I would tell him to absolutely take a flying leap on 6%. That's ridiculous. It's a joke. What would you do? So what I would do is I would have a conversation with him and I'd say, listen, we're going to do a lot of business together, but 6%, is completely unreasonable. That's completely insane. Nowhere ever. So I would be willing to pay 3% if that's what you're willing to pay. But if they're not very helpful and you don't, the challenge is you don't want to burn your reputation. If you go around the guy, which isn't hard, if you go around the guy and find the actual seller of the asset, I mean, you got to have an address. You got to know where the building is. You got to have some sort of a picture. Like you can find stuff that way. You can send it to people that, have that stuff loaded, all these images loaded in the systems or loaded on servers, and they can find images for you and be like, yeah, this is what this address is. So you can do that sort of stuff. I don't want to burn that relationship, but if this guy's like, nope, it's 6% or nothing, then I'd be like, then it's nothing. Then it's nothing. I didn't sign anything with you, but if you sign something with them, then you have to be a man of your word and honor it. That kind of job, just a few houses down the street, is about the equivalent of a change order addition to the original job. Not a lot more effort needed. Nice, Matt. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Channel 6 San Diego, I'm back again for a great session. It wouldn't be a great session if you weren't here. So thank you for coming and hanging. Dylan McMahon, he then said this, what's that mean, which in actuality is good for you because the final purchase price of the property will be cheaper after the fee. No, it's not. He's a dope. You're the one that pays that buyer's agent fee, not the seller. That's a fee that comes out of your pocket. Yeah. Tell this tongue-chewing idiot what's up. You know what? Send him a link to my show. Have him watch my show. Because he couldn't be more wrong. Hey, got 3 San Diegans in the chat tonight. I know. Overloaded with they're taking over, guys. Taking over. Just bring your weather. That's all I ask. HOA Press. I went to a meeting with our local Section 8 PHA, making the suggestion that drug testing should be mandatory. I completely agree with you. Pay your contractors and workers once the job is done and don't make them wait a month. I totally agree with you. It never ceases to amaze me that people postpone paying workers. Never made sense to me. I totally agree with you. You know why people excited to get my phone call? Because they know they get paid right away. They don't get paid right away. I literally have an HVAC guy who invoices on Sunday mornings. Before Sunday afternoon football was on, he is paid. And he always writes back. He always writes back and he goes, I just can't believe how fast you pay me on that stuff. I said, I just need you to make sure to make me a priority. That's all. I value you. I know that this is how you put food on the table for your family. Hopefully you value me and recognize this is how I put food on the table for my family. That's all. We're just trying to work together. We're trying to put food on the table for our families. That's all. I don't know what that means. Which part? What he said, what your buyer's agent said? Yes, he doesn't know what that means, and he's wrong. I feel you. $48,000 to resurface parking lot for mixed use using triplex commercial. 52 slot. Ouch. All aesthetics. Yeah, dude, isn't that awful? Wood Floor Alchemist. 8. What's the answer to that question? 8. Wood Floor Alchemist. Oh, 8%. 8% can work. I've got deals at 8%. I've got deals at 4. I've got deals at 2.5%. What was the number? That's what really matters. What returns do you aim for? That's market dependent, Dylan. It's market dependent. So for me, for my returns, mine are double digit, but it's because I've been doing this for 20 years. Never compare your year 2 or year 1 to my year 20. Always, it's the wrong thing to do because you will have some advantages in doing through your journey because I had no one to help me. So my beginning returns were awful and now they're amazing, but that's over time. That's where you always get to. That's why we invest in real estate. But what I would tell you is, wood floor occupancy. Yeah, but no one's getting 27. Like if that's 27, then you never had any real damage. At that point, in all likelihood, you're better off screening it. Sorry. White. So yeah, I think so, Dylan. I think that returns are market specific. If people that you're seeing are doing deals in those markets at 8%, 9%, then you should be aiming for that 8, 9, or 10, or 9 or 10. If people are doing deals at 3%, well, I'm not sure why you're looking for a deal there. I would be looking for a better market. That's what I would be doing because, if I can put my money in a bank and make 5 points or 4.5 instead of 3, yes, you have the appreciation of the real estate, but what if the real estate doesn't appreciate in the next 5 years? That's possible. And people who say it doesn't not possible, they're wrong. Factually speaking, they're wrong. For 5 years in a row, the market didn't crash 30 points when the great financial crisis happened. It was like 4 or 5, then it was like 4 or 5, and then it was like 8.9, and then it was like 3, and then it was like 2, but it went like this, right? And so when you had that crash, that was over a 5-year period. Now, obviously we were -2, but then the next year was positive. That was meaning that not every market was still going up. There's something like 4,000 markets in the US. So you have to be in one where you actually can better understand kind of what's going on. And I don't mean better understand like you don't understand your market now. I mean better understand from the perspective of, is that a better market than my market, right? That's what you got to be hunting and trying to find. Wow, Chris, does that include stripping the lines for the parking spots? Yeah, $48,000, 52 slots. 52 slots is big. Like $1,000. I mean, because you got to get all the driving in between and all the lanes in between. How many square feet was that, Chris? I'd like to know that because then I could tell you what I would pay for it. Maria 28, I love flooring. Me too. I do too. What brands that you used to use for LVP, microbial, and the sound dampening? The stuff that we would use was the stuff that we get from Lumber Liquidators. They're still open. I wouldn't place a big order with them right now because they're in bankruptcy, but I would take what they have on site. They have an antimicrobial. It is, you can go walk into any Lumber Liquidators. You can go right onto their site. It's $99, I think, for a roll of it, which is 100 square feet. So it's about $1. But if you sign up and get a commercial pro account, you can actually get it for like 89 cents. But that's what I would do. And so that's the antimicrobial stuff. Brand wise, I'm not focused on brand when it comes to LVP. I'm focused on thickness. The brand hasn't made a difference to me. It's always been the stuff that I've always had issues with was the thin stuff. I've always had issues with that stuff. terms depends on what you're saying. Yeah. Fire and Ice, HOA Press. Good luck with that one. I attended a legal aid seminar, and they are highly recommending that private landlords not screen at all because they could get in trouble for discrimination. Yeah, take me on, bro. Take me on. That is beyond absurd. And I completely agree with you, Fire and Ice. You're not wrong. That's exactly what's happening. However, we treat everybody exactly the same. And we know that we've been secret shopped. We know that we have been secret shopped. We know. And we show them. We're just like, guys, credit has to be here. Money has to be here. And, you know, and no, I've got as much baggage as the queen. Let's see. And what do you think of water resistant pads? Yeah, I like them. We have some. Again, if you're putting the floor together properly, the water resistant pad, you don't really need to worry about. That's why I'm going with the antimicrobial. But something to keep in mind in regular maintenance: deep clean and screen and recoat. Yep, absolutely. Yep, deep clean, screen, and recoat. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. HOA Press. I suspect that AI will dominate within the next 10 to 20 years. It won't take 50 to 100. I agree with that. Chase, a dedicated kind of conduit to fish wires, much like a soffit or a ductwork. Thank you, all-nighter. I forgot to explain that. A chase can often be like around a chimney, where you have a chimney that goes from the basement all the way up to the roof. Well, there's gaps around that chimney, and those gaps around that chimney often can be a chase. The other thing that they can do is they can also take a room, and they can take a corner in a room, like let's say 1 foot by 1 foot, and that's how they get all of the wire. And it doesn't even need to be that big, even 6 inches. But 6 inches where it's a corner in a room where it's 6 inches, you pull all your wires up through that, and that way you get all your stuff from the basement all the way to the upstairs, and that's considered a chase. Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that, Hyder. I forgot to explain that. Panels are brand new, then yeah, Master Coach, you're good. You're good. I'd be doing home runs off those things, man. That's awesome. Fire and Ice, can't accuse the computer of discrimination. Exactly. Very nice. Hopefully AI will be able to screen tenants so they can advise. Yeah, I think that they certainly will. But the place that we have to get careful is, like, China has a social credit score. That will become a problem because somebody that might even be good, but that's not considered good in their eyes, will then be deemed not good. So it's all about who owns the model. That's where you guys hear that about AI. It's all about who owns the model. Luke Devine. How do you find distressed properties on the verge of default? I learned that Sam Zell did this in bad times. Sam Zell did do this in bad times, but what Sam Zell didn't have access to was something that you now have access to, which is a better play. All right, dropping gold right here, 1024. We only got a few minutes left. I'm dropping some gold right here. The best deals you are going to find are the ones where they are on the list for the code enforcement officer that he's either already contacted them or going to contact them. And if it's a bigger issue, or I've actually got a deal that I'm working on right now, the guy's getting sued by code enforcement. He's being sued by the city. I got a pretty good chance of wrapping that deal, even if I can just horseshoes and hand grenades that thing and get even close, right? This is how cool that approach is. Guys, I give this to you. This is a gift of gold. All you have to do is call your code enforcement office and ask, where do you guys keep the list of people that have been sent letters or have been or are being sued or potentially being sued? Where do you guys keep that? Where's that? Where you post that? Most of them, some of them will say, we don't post any of that. A lot of them will say, yeah, we actually post that, and here's the link and blah, blah, blah. No joke. That's what happens. Yep. All-nighter, home runs. Yeah, golly, Hyder. Thank you. I'm sorry. Home runs, yes. Home runs are basically where you go from the breaker in the panel all the way to where you end up in the outlet or in a junction box that then feeds those 4 outlets. That's a home run. The reason I like that is because when they do junction boxes, they're like, oh, I tied into this one, I tied into that one. Good luck trying to find that problem when you're trying to service your property, because an electrician can find it, but you probably can't. That's a key. Hyder from Oceanside, now in Pacific Northwest, but my heart will always be in San Diego. Channel 6 San Diego. Love that. Luke Devine, when is your typical time frame to do an equity partners to double. Oh, to double an equity example, 50 to 100K. I don't know because I don't use equity partners. I have no interest in an equity partner. Either using one or being one. Not interested. So I don't know. I don't have a formula for that because I don't do it. Sorry. Jack Stewart, people leave because they can't handle looking at men's awesome beard. They have to leave for health reasons. Jack, I think we need to go into business with each other and probably do t-shirts. I'm just kidding. I actually had one. I can't say it. Should I say it? I mean, we're an hour and 30 in. Like, is anybody going to find it here? All right. Prepare to be offended. Seriously offended. I actually have a t-shirt. I'm looking around to see if I have one in this office. So I go and I get my shoulder worked on by a massage therapist. Super earthy, crunchy, loves all that stuff. Don't care. I'm fine. Do your thing. It doesn't bother me. Whatever. And she had this sign where I was just having a day. I was just having a day. And the sign says, well, so for those of you who don't know what the word namaste means the light in me bows to the light in you. And so I remember finding it out and I was just like, oh my freaking word. No, nope. And so I was having an argument with an earthy crunchy and they said namaste. And I said, I think you're mistaken. It's Matiste. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's namaste. I said, no, it's Matiste. They're like, what's that? I said, this is horrible. I said, the light in me makes the light in you its bitch. Awful. And somebody that was no part of the conversation heard it and starts cracking up. Sorry. Like I said. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, hopefully you guys don't hate me, but if you do, I'm okay with it. It just has to be. Yeah. So yeah. We did only one run of those shirts. Channel 6, I visited Astoria a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was my first time taking Pacific Northwest. It was gorgeous. Yeah, it's awesome. Some were offended over 9mm LVP. True story. 3 credits. Hi, Matt. Tenant's been home for less than a week and brought so much cat urine soaked material that my other duplex tenant is complaining of smell. Any thoughts? So instantly you must lease violate them. I'm sure your lease has something in there about health code, but you must lease violate them quickly and say, I need to know what is being done about the situation because it's becoming intolerable. Please update me with your plan within 72 hours. That's the first thing that I do. That's the first thing I do right there. And that gets your ball rolling. Maria 28, I hate carpet rentals. I love you, Maria 28. You're exactly right. The beard can be intimidating. I actually had a shirt before anybody else that said fear the beard. True story. Nice considerations, Matt. Thank you. Welcome, York. Yep. Great to have you. Yeah, York, PA. New subscriber here to your channel. York, PA. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us. Hopefully this was fun and helpful to you. Sorry it took me 30 minutes to get your comment. I suck at this, if in case you couldn't tell. Lots of useful information, but I largely suck at this. HOA Prez, if you have a real bad tenant, e.g. drug, illegal use, use of guns, check the local DA. CA is screwed up state, but the local DA can file a UDR lawsuits to get your tenants out. Start talking to your local financial institutions regarding foreclosures. I visited my dad's old factory, which had over 600 employees back in 1968, down to 100 in 2010, and now down to 20 with 3 times the output. Yeah, technology changes life. Office workers are about to get crushed by AI. True story. HOA, true story. Channel 6 San Diego. Did you go over the Big Bridge? Oh, Big Bridge, Washington. Okay, you're talking to Hyder. No worries. My dad used to teach concerned neighbors how to get rid of a bad neighbor like HOA Press describes. His main thing was to document everything, times, people, cars, routines. Yes, absolutely. Documentation is key. If you take my course, I teach you how to win. I teach you how to win evictions. I teach you how to win them. I am 24-0. 24-0. I have never lost. I've always gotten my eviction. Matt, can you show us up close cars behind your studio when you redo? Yeah. Absolutely, I can. I'll actually post pictures on my Instagram so you guys can see them. Because moving you should see the camera setup. It's ridiculous. So I'll take pictures of them and post them. Wait until you see what's coming on the next one. Jack, I think you're going to especially appreciate what's coming up on the next one. Let's see. I think Jared. Oh yeah, Jared does run another accountability group. I just so there's Jared's. I think is Sunday. Frank's is Wednesday, and Landlord Odyssey's is Tuesday. So the guys, there's always one to get to. It's kind of like a meeting, but there's always one to get to. HOA Pres, my cries of telling people that we have a drug problem which causes homelessness keeps falling on deaf ears. It's amazing how much money we spent in homeless programs without addressing the problem. Totally agree with you. Robert Fair, HOA Pres, you're on fire tonight, my man. You're on fire tonight. You're crushing it. I want 5 people in accountability groups. I only want 5. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it makes it more interpersonal. That's true. HOA Pres, they have no intention of solving homelessness. They need a permanent underclass to retain the oligarchy. True. Tyron Friesen, hey, welcome to the channel. I listen, but can't relate to Zuber because I'm not a W-2. Got it. I have 22 single-family homes. Tyron, congratulations. That's a win, man. That's a win. Congratulations to you. I have 22 single-family homes, and I do the management myself. Oh, dude, you're my dude. It's not hard, but I can't imagine 100 units. What's my next steps for more units? So, Tynan, that's what we talk about. You can't imagine 100 because you don't have the systems. No disrespect. I'm throwing this out there. My belief is that you don't have the systems and processes in place that allow you to scale to that size. I have built many, many, many businesses. And you know what I learned? The one thing I learned every single business that I built was I could never get past the inefficiencies and inefficacies of being able to do, same thing, by the way, being able to grow a company past its processes and past its systems. If I can't get past the system, I can't get past processes, I can't scale. So the idea is I do one property, I created processes around that. And then I did a second property and then I had those processes. And every single time I did one, my processes and systems got better. I can run my entire company from this phone. In fact, what was really funny today is while I was having my thing today, I was still able to run everything right from my phone. Everything. 7 appraisals, new driveway being put in, Section 8 getting approved, a move out getting finished right from my phone. And the way that you can do that is with systems and processes. We teach that a little bit in the course. We teach a lot of it in the course, actually. But then we take it to the boot camp and then we supercharge it. So that's how we do it. So the next step for more units is changing your systems and your processes. And that will be what propels you largely from probably 20 to 100. Yeah, sorry I was so late on your question. There was an applicant saying that he had good credit, but it turned out that he has a 400 credit score. Shocker. When called out on it, he said, my credit is good. Everybody has a piece of it. Yeah, I know, right? Score screenshot using grandmother's name. Yep. Name is her grandmother. Yeah, disgusting. Matt, you should take in a hockey game while out in Vegas if there's one going on. Yeah, so we've gone down that path a couple of times. Holy Toledo. I want nice seats, and they were like 8 bones. It was $800 to just bring my son. And I'm going to take the whole family. I do not want to spend $3,000 taking them all to a hockey game. I'll spend $600 or $800 to take 6 people, but yeah, we definitely will, for sure. CA is screwed up, but they are trying to get people being evicted from housing straight into a shelter to keep them off the street. Yeah, but the problem is they won't fix the real problem. That's the problem. Pumpkin pie is my favorite dessert. Jack Stewart, bros. And afterwards, we can do sugar high karate in the garage. Good call, Jack. Hopefully a Kings versus Knights game. Yep, where the Kings just skate and score circles around the Golden Nuggets. Yeah, I think you're going to be waiting on that one a little bit, Hyder. I don't like their chances, especially against the Knights. I love my Knights. Channel 6 San Diego. I love my Bruins more. My Bruins are my childhood team, but the Knights, when they had their inaugural season, we're Vegas people, so we're out there a lot. Frustrated today, Channel 6 San Diego. Started calling a property owners out of the assessor's office tax roll in my buy box. Connected to 3. One said, shoot me over your offer. Frustrated. Why is that frustrating? Channel 6. That's awesome. You can just say, hey, absolutely love to make you an offer, but I think what would make the most sense. So here's how we sell this, right? Here's how we spin this. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Would absolutely love to make an offer. Would love that. When would there be a time where I could just come over, take a look at the property, and just do a walkthrough? I'm not going to bring any inspectors, but just go through, do a quick walkthrough, and see what that see if that makes sense, and see what makes sense. And likely you will get a yes. Yep. And if he says, "Oh no, we wouldn't do that," you say, as you can imagine, this is a massive investment. I would not feel comfortable just giving you a number. Because I want to pay you the absolute most. Watch this. I want to pay you the absolute most I possibly can. That's going to get him. He's going to go, what? Yeah, I want to pay you the most. So if I see things that I can fix for less money than what a normal market person might be able to fix it for, then I can pay more because I know what my cost is to fix it. So I tell people this on kitchens. I say, I can do your kitchen for a lot less money. So because I own a cabinet company. The reason that I get a lot of those appointments is because they understand and they go, interesting. And I say, yeah, so I can pay you more than the other guy can pay you. I'm local. I don't want to travel too far. And you're within 20 minutes of where I live and where all my workers are. And so I can pay you more than other people in all likelihood. So I just would like the opportunity to see the property. And then you don't have to pay more than anybody else would. You're not obligated to pay more than anybody else. He might say, well, I had other offers for more. I completely understand. I thought I was able to pay you more based on that expertise. However, if somebody's willing to pay more than that, I understand. I really appreciate the opportunity. If something ever happens at another deal, just let me know. I'm happy to try and put something together. Guys, I'm literally thinking about buying a house. So tell me this, answer below. I'm literally thinking about buying a house so I have a flip to actually take you guys through all winter long. I'm thinking about it. I haven't decided yet. Let's see. Evening Misfits. Hey, how are you, Common Sense REI? This is Corby. I knew who this was. Still have the kitchen on my to-do list. Oh, you know what? I need to get back to you on that because I got everything taken care of for it. So they had some shipping issues, and I wanted to make sure that they were fixed before we move forward on anything, but I actually have that on my list. I will get back to you as well. I didn't believe it, but our Section 8 PHA will actually revoke vouchers if tenant screws up. So that's the rumor. It depends on which one. I've seen where the tenant has been. It depends on the case manager, not the HOA or not the PHA. Yep, not the PHA. It actually depends on the individual. I've seen somebody destroy an apartment and she moved into another one. I've seen somebody lose their voucher. Seen both happen. Yeah, seen both happen. Hold on one second. So every Section 8 applicant I've had was absolutely terrible. Yeah, I mean, I've had some bad ones. So I think the other thing too is, so Dion, love him. He's my brother. He's got, 16 or 18? 16 units or 18 units. And he has 2 Section 8. So all I would tell you is he likes to tease me about my Section 8 tenants. He has 2. I have 20. Now, do you think if you only have 2, do you think that you can get all the cream off the top? Yes, you can. Do you think if you have 20 that you can get all the cream off the top? You get some cream and you also get some curdle. So that's all I would say is that as you're looking at that strategy, if you are heavy Section 8, you are going to be making exceptions in a negative way for you to get somebody in that unit in all likelihood. That's been my experience. And again, it's not to give Dion a hard time, but when you have 2 versus 20, that's the difference. Because I've got 20 right now. I've got 20 Section 8 units. And we've stabilized a lot of them. We've got 2 that are not particularly good tenants, and all the rest are stabilized and they're pretty good. Yep. Section 8 tenants are definitely nutty. Lars Nielsen, I looked at a house with a bullet hole over the weekend, and you show the agent the direction of the bullet. Then the bank that owns it doesn't want a 203K loan. Interesting. Then I show the bank and it doesn't want to do a 203K loan. Interesting. Fire and Ice. Maria, I can deal with a little offbeat. True. I'm talking about deceptive deadbeats who let their kids tear up the place. Yep. Terrible previous landlord references. Yeah, true story. HOA Prez, good Section 8 applicants are likely to be seniors or truly disabled. Yes and yes, but truthfully, good Section 8 tenants also can have a job. Sorry, just my nose itched. So yes, but I like Section 8 tenants that have a job. I don't require that they have a job, but if it's a Section 8 unit and I've got a bunch of them out there, I like to see that they have jobs. Multiple factors. One, less wear and tear on the house. Two, they have the responsibility of having to hold a job, which I like. And three, they work for their money. And that's a big difference from somebody that's just receiving it. We look at SSI and things like that and support and all that other stuff. We look at all that stuff. But if I have my choices between the two and they're equal, if I look at the credit, and very often people that are dependent upon others for their money very often also have bad credit. So it's one that I've seen a high, I don't know that it's causation, but it certainly is correlation. Channel San Diego, oh my gosh, $1,000 car payment, $2,600 cord running rate winning. Love it. Let me just scroll down and see who the super chat is. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm never going to be able to finish all these. Channel 6 San Diego, $10. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Guys, I am never going to get to the end of these questions, and I am fried. Kim Bishop, when's the next boot camp? The next boot camp is September. There's either 2 or 3 spots. I think there's 2 spots left in the boot camp. I'm only doing one boot camp. I'm only doing 15 people. Last time fried me. It was 10 hours of teaching every weekend. But Grant Lee, real estate agent, good to see you. I just want to run through these real quick before I wrap up. But yeah, guys, I'm a little bit tapped. I apologize for not being able to get through all of the questions, but you guys were absolutely fantastic. Master Coach, bids on Rewire. Should I just send them the competing quote and have them match it, or have them inspect and come up with their own proposal? Inspect and come up with their own proposal, and then give them feedback of that you potentially might want single runs to these things just for better future management, and have them tell you otherwise. Channel 6, Fire and Ice. I want to make sure we got a bunch of new folks tonight. Guys, I'm so honored to have 70 people hanging out with me and talking about this stuff. I love you guys. I love spending time with your stories, hearing what you're going through. I'm always willing to tell you, hey, I don't know what I'm talking about on this particular subject, so don't listen to me. Or, hey, yeah, this is what I've done. I'll always give you my experience. But it's always just such a pleasure to be with you guys. How could the market not correct? Yeah, the market's going to correct. But if they dip rates down to, if they crash rates, then the market's not going to correct, but it's going to blow up inflation across the board on everything and make it even worse. It's just going to make it even worse. We need to take some medicine. Yep, we need to take some medicine. Yeah, oh, not a tongue chewing idiot. Yeah, I'm the worst. Such a bad attitude I have. It's always good. I feel you. I'm in Missouri. Oh, cool. Maria, welcome. Grant Lee, it's going great. It's going great. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out. Kim Bishop, it's good to see you too. Where's Senya? What's up with that? Jason Calasabetta. Kim, sometime next month, he thinks there are only 2 spots. Yeah, thanks for helping out. Big Hill. I love that. My ex always said that to me. Oh, yeah, gangster. That's probably about I've got a bad attitude. Only 24 evictions? Yeah, so here's the thing, Larry Bird. I've got 24 evictions, but 12 of them were ERAP tenants. So I don't say that they don't count, but I like to share the number because it's really 22 years, 23 years of landlording. It's really 12 evictions. It's really the other 12 are ERAP. And after I learned what the program was doing, I was like, all of those are going to lead to freaking evictions, and it's going to cost me a fortune. And it did. So I've actually contracted with a paralegal. See, again, this is how I outsource. I'm not hiring an attorney because that's a ton of money. I don't have all the time to chase all the small claims court cases. I don't want to spend a ton of money. So what do? I'm partnering with a paralegal who actually handles all these types of cases. And I just said, because she can't go and do anything. I have to be the one to show up, but I don't mind showing up. Here's what she's doing. All the paperwork gathering, the bills, the numbers, all of that work she's going to do. And that way she's just going to hand me a folder, and then I push the buttons on the folder and I go, what about this? 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 And then I believe at that point I have an ironclad case because I know the things that typically the judge wants to know. I'm going to have an ironclad case, and then I'm going to go win the case, but I didn't have to put it all together. If the glove doesn't fit, you must be acquitted. It's as if the tenant screw up, you must evict. It's a true story. Lumberjack Landlord. Yeah, check out the syllabus on lumberjacklandlord.com. There for the course. G-Level. I know. I always do that. Channel 1680. Wow. Perfect, Matt. Awesome. I would like to watch a real-time flip. Yeah. And we're down the path right now. I think their number is just too high. Andrew Mellencamp, Lumberjack, currently on our second house hack, but wondering if you've ever done a 203K deal. Yes, I have. I've done 2 of them. I did a 203K regular and a 203K streamline. And then I've done 10 construction loans since then, and they're a lot like a 203K. Thanks for all the gold info. You're very welcome. What are your thoughts on using that loan product? It's really good. The only downside is that you actually have to get a contractor who's willing to fill out all the paperwork. That can be the downside. Matt's advice may have closed the deal. Matt's advice may have closed the deal. Love that. Good for you guys. I'm sorry, just rolling through. Jack Stewart, working on the shirts, Matt. Thanks for the super chat, Jack. I appreciate you. Can you have a horizontal? Yes, you can. Yep. Sure can. You can have a horizontal egress window. The only thing is, the only criteria is that a single sash must be 5.7 square feet or larger. So it can slide, doesn't matter which direction it slides, because it can also be a crank window, but it has to be a single sash has to be 5.7 cubic feet, 5.7 square feet, 5.7 square feet. Oysters and fish and chips. Kim Bishop. Guy got to drop in one of these finally. Been too long. And Senya is busy managing all of those properties of hers. I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing because I can only imagine Senya on the phone. Literally, she could be watching this and she's probably yelling at somebody or yelling at a spreadsheet. I think she is an awesome investor. I think both you guys are great investors. I'm excited to see how you guys grow over the next few years. Fire Nights, this is one job, but owes her old landladies a bunch of judgments. Oh, yeah, disqualified. Investing folks. Thank you. You're very welcome. Guys, we have so much fun here. I consider it an honor to hang out with you guys. And so I hope I'll see you guys here next Thursday at 9 o'clock. And we'll do some more stuff. Do you buy your windows specifically somewhere? So I like to look for, this is the last question I'll take. I like to look for local window manufacturers that are so where we are, it was Harvey Windows and Doors, and then they got bought out by Lansing Building Products. But I like local companies that understand what the energy codes are where I am. And that means I don't put myself at risk. So I like to buy from those types of companies. You can also go to Lumberyard and ask who they market. I don't like Anderson because I think they're really super expensive, and I think you can get just as good of a window. I don't like Pella either. Pella is a beautiful window, but again, I think you can get a window that's just as good from these companies because they're building to a spec. The spec that they're building, Energy Star, that's a spec. That means that anybody can build to that spec, and that's what you're going to get for a window. It's going to meet those requirements. Energy Star Plus is exactly the same thing. They're going to build to that spec. That puts you guys eons of past of everybody else in their knowledge of windows, but that's what I would do. I would go to a local lumberyard, or I would just look up window manufacturers in my area. There are custom guys, and you can just ask them, do you guys make custom windows, or do you guys, are you guys doing like replacement windows or potentially new construction windows? You can absolutely get that window. It should be 2 to 3 weeks to order. Depending on the size, it should be, $250 to $400, but you can absolutely get it. It just has one pane, has to be 5.7 square feet. And if you have any questions or concerns about that, the best person to call is the local code enforcement officer, because they will be able to give you guidance if something like that's changed. So, which it hasn't. That's national code, and I haven't seen it change. The only thing that's changed recently in national code was you now need to do a double layer of 5/8 sheetrock on a ceiling when there's another unit above it. And that's required when you've gone through and gutted, because they want a 2-hour burn rating and not a 1. That's all the fire that I had to drop for you guys tonight. I really appreciate you. Like I said,
honor and a privilege. Hit the like button on the way out. Thank you guys for the super chats, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, I think there's 2 spots left in the boot camp. And yeah, first come, first serve. Hope you guys are awesome. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.